Paneku. I don't know if I pronounced that well. If not, then please
It's okay.
apologize. And Olivier is associate professor at the École Nationale de Météorologie, and is also researcher at Météo France, Cerfax, and CNRM. And Olivier is a very well-known expert in the data assimilation methods, but he's also working on the interface between machine learning methods and data assimilation stuff, which is also something that we are really pushing in our center. So we are very glad to have you here, and we are looking forward to your talk, and welcome to the seminar of Modemat. The audience is yours.
Thank you very much, Ran, and thank you very much for the invitation for the seminar. So in this talk, I will present you some aspect of our research on a novel method to implement the Kalman filter, which is called the parametric Kalman filter, and some tools we have developed in order to improve our method and to set some part of the equation we need, the terms we have to determine. And so the presentation will cover several of these aspects. So to start, I would like to remind some equation about the Kalman filter. So the Kalman filters reproduce the dynamics of the uncertainty, at least in the linear and Gaussian case, where the Gaussianity is preserved. And actually, this filter relies on 4 equations, 2 equations for the analysis here, and 2 equations for the forecast. And by this way, we have all the evolution of the information along the analysis and forecast cycles. So during the analysis, we have an update of the information coming from the observation, and during the forecast, we have a prediction of the uncertainty. So the Kalman filter is very simple. It's just like linear algebra, and so we can implement it very easily in Python, for instance. But actually, when we want to develop this kind of algorithm for large systems, like in meteorology or oceanography, well, it is not possible to handle this formalism. And so we need some approximations. The well-known approximation for the Kalman filter are given, for instance, by the ensemble Kalman filter. So in the Kalman filter, the main cost is due to the prediction of the uncertainty after the analysis state. So the computational cost is very intense for the computation of the forecast error covariance matrix here. And so to avoid this step, the ensemble method consists to approximate the covariance matrices from an ensemble estimation. So you consider a sampling of a distribution, and then you can predict each sample. So it corresponds to, so it gives you an estimation of the forecast error covariance matrix. And then assimilating the observation for each members, you obtain an estimation of the analysis error covariance matrix. So another approximation of the Kalman filter comes from covariance model. If you have a good covariance model, as some, for instance, in a variational data assimilation system, we have developed several covariance model that can be used. And so if you have a good covariance model, you can, with some parameters, for instance, here's variance or the anisotropy. I will detail what is the anisotropy in the next slides. And if you are able to determine how this parameter evolve all along the assimilation and forecast steps, then it's a way to approximate what is done by the Kalman filter. And this is a strategy that corresponds to the parametric Kalman filter I will develop here. So an example. So as important quantity we can introduce to diagnose but also to model covariance matrix is to consider the variance. So if you have an error field, for instance, that can be multivariate, the variance is only the expectation of the square of the error, assuming that the error is unbiased in this formalism. And you can diagnose the local shape of the correlation considering the diagnostic of the anisotropy. So it can be, for instance, the metric tensor that is defined here from the second order Taylor expansion that corresponds to a sort of ellipse that represents the local shape of the correlation. I will show this after. The metric is, however, not, how to say, it is not covariant. I mean that if you look at the ellipses corresponding to the metric, it corresponds to the inverse of the real shape of the correlation. And sometimes we prefer to consider what is called the aspect tensor, that for which the shape of the aspect tensor corresponds to the shape of the correlation. And so this is the definition from the Taylor expansion, but actually you can show that this anisotropy diagnostic can be computed directly from the error itself. For instance, here we have an expression of the metric tensor defined from the expectation of the square of the gradient of the error, the normalized error actually. Okay, so in one dimension, the metric is associated to a certain length scale that is called the Delay length scale or correlation length scale that corresponds here to the distance where the parabola, the oscillatrice parabola at the origin of the correlation function. So here we have a correlation function is equal to 0.5. So this is the distance. In 2D or 3D, the tensor corresponds to an ellipses here, for instance, that reproduce the shape of the local correlation. So this diagnosis is very interesting because it is not possible to look at each correlation function, especially in 2D, for instance. Too much correlation function, and this kind of diagnosis can very easily show you what are the shape of the local correlations. So it is an interesting diagnosis to set. But actually, it is also a tool to build some correlation functions. So it is not only a diagnostic, it is also a way to fit covariance model to realistic correlation functions. So it's nice. And one aspect is that if you have a covariance model based on the variance and the anisotropy, you can write the equation to update the variance field and also the anisotropy. So it looks like a sequential assimilation as encountered for ensemble Kalman filter. For instance, if you consider the assimilation of a single observation, then this process, that I won't detail every steps, but the main ones, this sequential algorithm will update the variance field taking into account the observation, the information that comes from the observation, and the analysis anisotropy here. What is very nice is that we have some equations that explain how the correlation are updated during the assimilation. these equations are related from the formula I showed you before. And you see that these formula are not related to the direct Kalman filter equation, actually. This corresponds to continuous expression of the linear algebra associated to the Kalman filter. Okay, so this algorithm is actually the leading order of the update. The second order, the full order update is given by these algorithms. So this corresponds here to the parametric Kalman filter of order 1 for algorithm 1 and of order 2 for algorithm 2. So you see that you find the same line, except that for the metric, here the metric, the update of the metric tensor is much complex. Okay, so this show you how to update the information, the forecast error statistics by the introduction of observation. So this corresponds to the analysis steps of the Kalman filter. An illustration in, yes?
That's a question, only just to be clear. So the computation of the rho, is that doable? Is that expensive, or?
So it relies here on a covariance model. So rho here denotes the correlation that is, to say, parameterized by the local variance and the local anisotropy. Of course, if you consider rho as a correlation, it is a correlation here, then rho is only a function of the anisotropy here. To put some flesh on the bone, as an example of correlation matrix, you can consider, for instance, a diffusion equation, where the local diffusion tensor would be related to the local anisotropy. It is one of the covariance models we encounter in data simulation, especially for oceanography.
Okay.
Okay. So here, an illustration of the update that is computed by the formula I showed before, and compared with the Kalman filter. And so you can see here an observation, actually its location in red, and the ellipses in corresponds to the anisotropy diagnosed for the analysis error covariance. Okay, so far from the observation, actually the ellipses corresponds to circle. So actually the forecast error covariance here are homogeneous and isotropic. And because of the assimilation of a single observation, you produce some anisotropy. And the anisotropy produced by the second order, as represented by the second order algorithm, coincide with the solution of the Kalman filter. Okay, and this is another situation where the magnitude of the observational error is lower, and you can see that the anisotropy is larger. Okay, and the difference you see on the PKF01 at the first order and at the second order is that the PKF at the first order only rescale the initial anisotropy. Okay, it's difficult to see it, but actually most of the ellipses here in black correspond to second order, correspond to the solution of the Kalman filter, but you see that the first order approximation is not able to reproduce the ellipses. It just scales the circle. Okay, so now an example of the analysis step on a situation. So this example show you the result of the assimilation of an observational network for a given situation where the anisotropy is homogeneous, the forecast error correlations are isotropic, and with the variance equal to 1. And so we observe here the analysis error variance given by the Kalman filter and the two implementation of the analysis step for the parametric Kalman filter. And you can observe that the variance fields are quite similar. Note that in this implementation, the Kalman filter has been computed from the matrix formulation. So we don't have here sampling noise. But if we had considered the ensemble Kalman filter to the comparison, then for the panel A, we would saw some sampling noise that is not present here. Okay, so it seems that it shows you that the parametric Kalman filter seems to be able to reproduce part of the analysis step. In place to show you all the ellipses, I show you another diagnosis of the anisotropy that corresponds to isotropic anisotropy. So it is a local isotropic length scale associated to each correlation function, analysis error correlation function. And again, we can see that the parametric Kalman filter is able to catch some aspect of the Kalman filter. Okay. So now, so in this first part, I show you that we are able to reproduce the analysis steps. And so now we would like to test if we are able to predict the statistics. So we are interested to obtain the equation, for instance, of the various parameters of the variance and for the metric tensor, for instance. So are we able to write equations that would reproduce the dynamics of these parameters? Okay, so to do so, we have to set the equation for the parameters, and we can show that this equation can be obtained from the dynamics. So we consider a sort of Reynolds decomposition that separates the expectation of a random field and the error. So there is no assumption behind this equation, it's just a modeling where you separate the expectation and the fluctuations. And pushing this decomposition into the equation, you can find the dynamics of the variance, and you can also find the dynamics of the anisotropy. So say differently, for the anisotropy, you are able to describe how the shape of the local correlation will change during the evolution. And this is also true for the variance. Okay, so it is not very difficult to compute this equation, but it can be hard because you can have several terms. So to help the design of the parametric Kalman filter for the forecast step, we have developed a Python package that is able to compute this equation for you. So you give the dynamics, you type, you enter with your keyboard, and you've got the equations that governs the dynamics of the variance and of the anisotropy. So the code is available on GitHub. So this is an illustration. Here we consider the Burger equation that corresponds to a nonlinear advection here, plus a diffusion here. Okay, so you give the Burger equation with a SymPy, that is a Python package which we can implement formal equations. So it corresponds to computer algebra system in Python. And then with SymPKF package, you obtain the dynamics of the variance and of the anisotropy. And you also obtain the dynamics of the mean, the average, the ensemble average. I mean here by ensemble average, the fact that the Reynolds decomposition corresponds to the ensemble average Okay, and that is similar to what is done in ensemble Kalman filter, but here you can see that there is no ensemble. Okay, we have the dynamics of the parameter, and that's all. Okay, so with this equation, actually, the parametric Kalman filter corresponds to a second order non-linear Kalman filter, actually. Okay, however, you can see some terms that are not given from, for instance, the velocity, the variance, or the anisotropy. So you have some unclosed term. So this system is a coupled system. So for the mean, you need the variance. For the variance, you need the anisotropy. Sorry, there is a problem in the presentation. Here it is S, not nu. Sorry, I changed notation and I forgot this term. Anyway, and the unknown term that appears here clearly in red. So the dynamics of the uncertainty corresponds to a coupled system between the mean, the variance, and the anisotropy. Here, the coupling between the variance and the anisotropy is due to the diffusion, actually, because you see that kappa here, that corresponds to the diffusion, couples the variance with the anisotropy. So here it is not nu, it is S, sorry. And you observe also that the variance influence the dynamic of the anisotropy. So one of the questions is to find some appropriate closure for this kind of terms. From an analytical study, we have proposed a closure and show in this situation that we were able to reproduce the uncertainty dynamics. So here's the ensemble mean. For the magnitude of the noise we consider in this case, actually there was no difference between the ensemble mean and the tangent linear dynamics, actually. Yes. For the variance, you can see here that because of the diffusion, the variance that is set to 1 at the initial state will be damped with the diffusion. But suddenly, with the formation of a front, you can see that the variance will increase in time in the position of the front. Okay, and here it corresponds to the dynamics of the length scale. So you remember that this length scale corresponds to the anisotropy, to the shape of the correlation. So you can see that the length scale increase in time. This is due to the diffusion, and we can observe an oscillation here in the position of the front. So this result shows a comparison between the parametric Kalman filter and an ensemble validation obtained from, I don't remember exactly for this case, but it should be more than 1,000 of members. So it's very, very large. And you can see that the parametric Kalman filter is in accordance with ensemble Kalman filter. And we are able to explain this kind of small oscillation for the length scale. So this oscillation are not some noise that could emerge from the diagnosis, for instance. This is some signals that we are able to predict. So it's a nice result. But most of time, we don't have some clue to propose some analytical closure. And it will be more interesting to consider machine learning to try to help us in the design of such closure. And to do so, we have developed a package that is called PDNetGen that merge partial differential equation with machine learning, and especially with a convolutional neural network. So again, this package is available on the GitHub, so you can test it if you want. So the key idea is to observe that actually we can implement a final difference into a convolutional neural network. So if you consider, for instance, here a simple one-order spatial derivative of a function u, you have to find some A matrix and bias B here, and a sigma corresponding to transition function, activation function, sorry, so that the computation, or actually the approximation of the computation of the derivative, fits with the usual formula encountered in a neural network. So if we are able to find sigma A and B, then we are able to compute the derivative. Actually, in this case, you can see that sigma corresponds to the identity. There is no bias here. There is no second term here. And A corresponds to the waist we have here. So to compute the derivative from a convolutional network, it is enough to specify the waist of the finite different approximation. So you have the choice in the discretization, but here this is an example. So with this connection between convolutional with this connection between convolutional neural network and finite difference, we have developed some higher order derivative that is able to give you some waist in convolutional neural network. So you can translate all the terms that are known in your dynamics as neural network, so that the remaining terms that are unclosed can be trained from the usual tools, like in Keras, for instance. So to show you, to show this on an example for our case, so this term is unknown. We know every other terms, so we want to use this information. Otherwise, the knowing of this physics, if you don't take into account this information, you will spare times and data to train and to learn what is the dynamics of the uncertainty, but well, it's not efficient. And moreover, mathematically, it is much more costly to implement neural network than the implementation of this kind of terms, for instance, from algebra. So with the package, we translate all these systems into neural network. And for the illustration here, but we could do by other way, we proposed a closure for actually not a closure, but a dictionary for closing the non-term. So it's a common way to do this. And then with the usual package like Keras, we can implement the dynamics and then use it on training data to discover what are the waste of this dictionary. So it is a way to use our package, but another way is to propose a neural network for the unknown terms, and then to train this neural network from scratch. Here, we show you that because we hybridize the physics, so the equation and machine learning, we can propose some interesting dictionary to try to find an appropriate closure. And moreover, the advantage of this way is that you obtain equation for the closure. Okay. So for the training, we computed an ensemble, many ensemble of ensemble forecasting, and estimated the variance and the length scale. Sorry, it is diffusion here, but actually it is length scale anyway. And then we observe that the parameter we have obtained are in this situation, but we don't know exactly why, similar to the theoretical closure we have proposed. Okay. So now we can show some illustration of on assimilation cycle. So to do that, we have to update the statistics during the analysis and forecast the parameters during the forecast steps. So for the illustration, we consider here dynamics of a linear transport of a tracer, scalar tracer, for instance. And you can show that the dynamic of the parameter is given by this set of equations that are not coupled in this case. Another way to see this equation is given by this much more condensed terms, except this one. So you can observe that the dynamic of the variance for the linear transport here is given by actually a linear transport. The dynamic of the anisotropy is given by the linear transport of the anisotropy plus some terms that are due to the shear of the flow. For the forecast step, we added a small diffusion to prevent the emergence of singularities, for example, if the stretching is too large. Okay, so you can see here the time evolution. So this represents several analysis time. So we performed different assimilation, and this show you what are the analyses at time 0, time 3.5, and time 9. So the diagnostic show you the dynamics of the anisotropy as shown by the isotropic length scale. That is the sum up of the shape of the correlations. And so the left column corresponds to the ensemble Kalman filter, and the middle and the right columns corresponds to the two implementation of the parametric Kalman filter. So what we can observe is that the diagnoses are similar, except that for the second order Kalman filter, parametric Kalman filter, we observe the divergence that is due. So it is not a divergence of the filter, but it is a divergence of the update of the correlation because we need some gradients, etc. And sometimes it can bring you some non-positive metric tensor. For the PKF, the first order PKF, since you only rescale the metric, it prevents from the emergence of singular metrics. Okay, for the variance, we observe similar patterns. So this, I mentioned you to in the beginning of the presentation that there was no sampling noise in the first results. Here, since we used the ensemble Kalman filter, you can see that the analysis error variance field is polluted by some sampling noise. There is no sampling noise for the parametric Kalman filter. And if you look at the dynamics of the parametric Kalman filter versus the ensemble Kalman filter, you can observe that the parametric Kalman filter is able to reproduce the evolution of the analysis error, except that, well, this is not, the results are not exactly the same. And this is a problem that is very important here. It is not due to the fact that the parametric Kalman filter is not good, but actually it can be due to the fact that the ensemble Kalman filter is not the right sensor for this situation. Actually, if you compute the evolution with the ensemble Kalman filter, the true dynamics in this situation because it is only for research at this step. We would like to design the right equation, and we focused on the physics on the uncertainty. So we introduced, we solve the dynamics in finite difference. And with finite difference, actually, the equation you solve is not the transport of the scalar field, but it is the transport plus some additional physical process that are due to the numerical discretization. So here, actually, it is not physical process, but this corresponds to numerical processes. So here, some dispersion, for instance, due to discretization. And if you consider only the time evolution of the variance field, without any assimilation. For this dynamics, the variance field should be conserved, but actually you observe that with ensemble Kalman features that the variance field is not really conserved. Actually, if you start from a uniform field, for example, with a variance equal to 1 for any points, then you observe some oscillations here that can be explained from the dispersive terms that correspond here actually to model error. Okay, so this is to mean you that it is sometimes difficult to have a comparison. Here we have a mix between the true dynamics of the uncertainty plus some model error that can be difficult to understand. In the reverse, the parametric Kalman filter can be a tool to diagnose and to better understand model errors. And we have developed some tools to estimate a part of the covariance of the model error covariance based on the parametric Kalman filter. So here we have an illustration of this defect for real systems. So here we have a certain magnitude of the variance that is transported, and after 4 days, you can see that the variance has been damped by the system. So this is related to some numerical diffusion actually. So to be more clear with this, if you consider, for instance, so the transport equation, discretized with some Euler with upwind scheme, then actually the true dynamics that you solve numerically is given by the transport plus a diffusion, and where the transport is done by the velocity plus some terms related to the discretization. And these terms will bring to a shift of the signer and also to a damping of the uncertainty. So you can observe this effect comparing, for instance, a nature that is solved here with higher order schemes compared with Euler scheme. So I know that we have better schemes, of course, but in numerical weather prediction, for instance, we consider semi-Lagrangian approximation, and we observe this kind of damping. So it is okay, it is simple, and we can write equation, but in more realistic situation, we also observe this kind of defects. And by comparing what should be the true dynamics of the uncertainty with the dynamics of the uncertainty as produced by the numerical model, we can write the equation of the parametric Kalman filter and then diagnose a part of the model error covariance. So you can see by this idea that the parametric Kalman filter is not only a tool to solve the Kalman filter, or to approximate the Kalman filter equation, it is also a theoretical tool that brings you information about the physics of the uncertainty. Okay, so this is an illustration of how the variance how the model error variance evolves for this situation, and also the length scale. But the length scale is much difficult to interpret here. Okay, so for all these illustration, we focused on univariate formulation. However, for application in oceanography, weather prediction, or chemical transport model, for instance, we often handle multivariate fields. So we need to extend the parametric Kalman filter to multivariate situations. And to explore this, we consider a simple illustration with a chemical transport model. So to do so, we need two spaces to be multivariate, a non-linear dynamics to be similar to what is done in chemical transport model, and of course, continuous fields that are the key tools, key condition to use the parametric Kalman filter. And the preliminary results we obtained show that we are able to predict the multivariate covariance error with the parametric Kalman filter with an appropriate model of the correlation, the cross covariance. We also perform some tests with the assimilation, and this will be presented in an article. Okay, so the parametric Kalman filter is a tool that is in development. So we have many things to do. We created some tools in order to facilitate the research and the design of the method, and some illustrations. The result we have obtained is very interesting, in particular for chemical transport model, where we have a PhD that is starting on this theme, and in collaboration with other colleagues, as I mentioned, Richard Ménard at Environnement Canada. And we are exploring the application for geophysics equations. And so to do so, we need to develop some multivariate dynamics for covariance error. And so we are working on this now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Oliver, for the nice talk. It's time for questions. Are there any?
Yes, I have one question. If I'm working in a very large scale problem, which one of these Kalman filter schemes are the better, the ensemble one or the parametrized one? Which performs the better in a large scale problem?
For parabola problem? Sorry.
I mean, in general, if I working with these two ensemble Kalman, these Kalman filter schemes, the ensemble one and the parameterized one, or it depend, or is problem dependent, or
okay,
or I don't know.
Okay, so the advantage of the ensemble Kalman filter is that you can use this algorithm for any problems. Lorentz, 63, ocean, weather forecasting, etc. But so this is the strength of the ensemble Kalman filter. But the weakness is that it runs for all these dynamics without taking into account the equation of the dynamics. I mean, of course, the equation of the dynamics is taken into account, as I mentioned in the first equations of the Kalman filter during the time evolution, etc. But actually, Lorentz 63 is very different from the equation of the ocean or the atmosphere. You have partial differential equation. And if you consider ensemble Kalman filter, you don't take into account this information. And actually, we can write equations for the uncertainty. And we can take advantage of this equation. And for instance, for the transport equation, we we have all the equation that governs the dynamic of the uncertainty. So it depends on of the problem. The parametric Kalman filter is a solution that could be interesting for continuous fields, not for ordinary differential equation, for instance. We need partial equations, at least for the derivation, of course. For the computation, then okay, you have partial equation, you discretize them, and you obtain ordinary differential equation for the prediction. But this is not. And so the advantage of the parametric Kalman filter that takes into account the particular form of the dynamics is also its weakness, because since it depends on the dynamics, you need to write the equation corresponding to your dynamics. And this is why we have developed some tools to help you in this design. So if you want, the ensemble Kalman filter is very simple, but then, so you don't need to be clever. You use it, it's a clever solution, it's very nice, but I mean, okay, you use it like it, okay? And then, of course, it's not very simple because of localization problem. But anyway, in its form, the algorithm is very simple. And then you have some problem because, okay, I have some filter divergence. I have the sampling noise, and I need to localize. My fields are not balanced, etc., etc. And then, okay, so you have not to be clever at the beginning, but then you have to be clever to use it in an appropriate way. For the parametric Kalman filter, it's the inverse. You have to be very clever at the beginning and pass some time to write the equations and close the systems. But one time after doing this, you can use the dynamics to understand what you are doing and to do this at low cost. Because for the transport, for instance, you have, well, so 3 equations for the anisotropy, 1 equation for the variance, and 1 equation for the mean. So you have 5 equations to compute. And if you want to implement the ensemble Kalman filter, you will perform several forecasts. So the cost associated to the ensemble Kalman filter is very important compared to the parametric Kalman filter. So it depends on the problem. It is the strength and the weakness, and you have to develop the equation. So it depends on the problem.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other question? Let me ask a follow-up concerning the comparison between the ensemble Kalman filter and the parametric one. I was wondering about the training phase actually, because for the ensemble Kalman filter you don't need the sample to be that large for the perturbations, right? But in this case you get something more physics and model based. But I don't know if the training of the neural network, for instance, doesn't need much training samples, or how that goes, and if the dynamics becomes much more complicated, how that can be managed. I don't know if you can comment on that.
Well, for the closure, yes, you have to consider ensemble Kalman filter to give you at least maybe not the truth, but at least a reference. Because have you seen the ensemble Kalman filter is also perturbed by model error. And so it's, well, but in our illustration here, we used 400 estimation, so prediction, and with at different times. So I didn't remember exactly the size of the data, but it was not so big actually. But you can do this offline, and once it is done, you have access to the dynamic of the uncertainty with the equation. If you consider a closure based on a dictionary of formal terms, or the computation with a neural network if you replaced the known term by an arbitrary neural network.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions maybe or comments? If not, let's thank Olivier again. I don't know, virtually.
Thank you very much.
If you can stay a little bit longer to chat a bit, Olivier, please.
Yes, with pleasure.
Okay, thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a nice afternoon.
Bye-bye.